I'm teaching an online course this summer, and I was talking with folks in eLearning about how to preserve my teaching style in an online environment. And I said, I don't teach with PowerPoint, I just teach on a chalkboard. So what I want to do is I just want you to videotape me while I write on the chalkboard and give my lectures that way. But there's a problem in that when you're writing on the chalkboard, you're facing away from the camera. It's not aesthetically very good, and it's potentially distracting to the students to see you from the back. I mean, it's not a good setup. So Ryan, eLearning, talked to me about this possibility of getting basically a piece of glass that I would write on with markers, and then they would flip it, so when the students watched the lecture, they would see the writing come across the correct direction and be legible, and I wouldn't have to change my teaching style. I could still teach in this sort of chalk talk way. One thing I noticed that's really helpful is having somebody in the room that hasn't heard this material before, nodding at me, letting me know that I'm communicating well, because that, even though it's just one person behind the camera, it still makes a big difference for me in terms of my confidence in delivery. I want it to reflect my classroom style as much as possible. So there's a short lecture, and then there's going to be a live Q&A with the students. So some students, I'm going to move the time of the Q&A around so that different students can participate. But the idea would be that they watch the lecture and then come to the live Q&A with questions, and then we have a conversation, which I really like because it sort of takes the pressure off the lecture. If I don't explain something perfectly, they can just ask me questions about it. And it's much more, to me, it reflects how I like to run my classroom in real life. It's opened up possibilities of kinds of assignments that I hadn't thought about before, about ways to combine synchronous and asynchronous education in order to still get live contact with students, which is something that I think is rewarding to both students and professors, and is one of the can be a disappointment in an online class if you don't get that connection. I would say the only flaw with the process is that you can't just erase and keep going. You have to stop recording. It takes several minutes of elaborate cleaning rituals to get the board smudge free so that then you can record again. That hasn't necessarily been a bad thing for me because it's helped me chunk my lectures into even smaller segments. Maybe I would say that it's a challenge that has actually made me think more thoughtfully about what information actually needs to go on the board and how to chunk my lectures with that amount of time in mind.